Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. Another beautiful Tuesday evening. You can see me here on your left. If you are catching us on the live stream that is on Voice of the Caves Facebook and YouTube platforms. And on my right, you can probably see the gentleman there. You probably may recognize him. He's from the early days of the show. He was here, one of the original guests. And that is none other than Mr. Tauriq Brown, coming to us all the way from Canada. Assalamu alaikum to you, Tariq. How are you doing?
Alaikum salam to you and the listeners and the viewers on Facebook. I'm good. Fantastic. Good
That's
to be
great,
back.
brother. I'm curious, okay? So in South Africa right now, we are experiencing summer, or as I like to call it, not summer because the weather is so erratic today. Cloud cover, a little bit humid, then it got cold, then it started to rain. You can't predict it. But I want to know, there in Canada, how is it?
I promise you, the city that I'm in now, Winnipeg, the weather's probably more extreme in Cape Town, believe it or
More
not.
ex-
So, having all four seasons in one day, we all thought was unique to where we're from, but it's actually not the case. Right now, we're going into autumn, so getting a bit cool, but still okay.
Wow. So wait. So you telling me, right? You in one day you're experiencing winter, summer, spring, and autumn all at the exact same time.
Yeah, yeah. The other day
Yo.
I was up for call at 6 a.m. or Canada time, and it was snowing. And
Mm.
then by after lunch it was plus 15. So yeah, it's at least we don't have to deal with snow, right?
At least that. But as a kid, I always wanted to see snow. You watch all of the movies on TV, and you see the snow and the Christmas lights, and you're like, wow. I wonder how that feels. But anyway, for any of the listeners or viewers that don't remember who Tariq is, I'm going to do a quick little recap because I just want to test my own knowledge as to remember to see if I remembered it or not. If I recall, Mr. Tariq Brown is none other from Cape Town, the Cape Flats. He's from Ottery. From Ottery, he went to Stellenbosch to the University of Joburg. From Joburg, I believe he worked at some corporate company in Pretoria. From Pretoria, he went to Zando. From Zando, he went to Nigeria. From Nigeria, he went to Thailand. From Thailand, Vietnam. And then at Vietnam, he also did escapades in Cambodia and as well as Laos. He also worked at a fashion company, I believe. So Tariq is also a fashionista, so he can so if you want any tips about how to look good, Tariq is your man. And then Tariq went all the way to Switzerland, I believe, to do a stint as an investment or an investor. Am I correct, brother? Is this all? Is all the above, right?
I'd say 80%. I'd say
80%.
80%.
A solid 80%. That's an
Yeah.
A. That's an A in South Africa. So I don't know what an 80% is in North America, but in South Africa, 80% is a solid A. So I'm gonna take that on my chest. That is amazing. But anyway, brother, anyway, we are having you on the show today. And we're gonna have to just make it a little bit brief because we're gonna have to go for some commercial news soon. But just inform us again. What is it you're actually doing in Canada? What have you started up now?
So the company and the project is actually fully South African orientated, based in Cape Town, a registered South African company. As the new global trend is, especially since the pandemic, I'm working remotely from Canada. I have some other consulting projects around that, but refills is my main focus right now.
Yeah, and before you left, actually, you were telling us you're going to be getting this thing started. And what one thing you mentioned all the way back, I believe it was in October, was your desire to engage in social entrepreneurship. For those that don't know, could you just enlighten us a little bit on what exactly social entrepreneurship is?
Well, to me, social entrepreneurship is really still having a, let's say, sustainable company that has a focus towards being independent. Um, but there's a greater cause. You know, it's not
Mm,
just financial bottom line, but it's impact bottom line, uh, like a non-financial impact.
mm,
So in the case of refills, it's a for-profit social enterprise. That's how I probably summarize it. And we
mm,
seek to achieve three things. And all these three things I realized when I came back to, when I was in Cape Town for 8 months. which was one, the homelessness for me went through the roof since 10 years before when I left South Africa. The second was that people were often talking about consumer prices. So affordability went down. People couldn't afford what they used to. And then thirdly was then, of course, the opportunity then to have an impact on the environment, right? So
Mm.
single-use plastics like the garbage, the trash. I saw, like, I was staying in R3, just, everywhere people were dumping everywhere, and like there wasn't really a consciousness about eliminating single-use plastic. So this is what
Mm.
Refill seeks to achieve.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. As he said, as Tariq said in the beginning about the cause, and we're gonna find about all about that cause after the break. We have to go pay the bills now. Pay the bills, go for some commercial news, ensure that the lights stay on. But with that, stay tuned to the Daily Grind for more. Let's go and pay the bills. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. As I said before the break, we're going to be finding out a little bit more about the cause that refills.co.za is trying to get into run. by none other than Mr. Tauriq Brown. Now, Tauriq, before the break, you were giving us a little bit of insight on what social entrepreneurship is. You told us about how it's about the cause, people over profit, but still trying to make a profit there in and there out, and how you recognize the social ills that plague the city at the moment and how you thought you could rectify it. Now, just tell us a little bit more about it. How does what is the goal of Refill Society and how does it go about achieving that goal?
Yeah. Um, yeah. So as mentioned before the break, it has Refills has three built on three structural mandates or three pillars. Let's say the first one is affordability. So let's look at that one a little bit. So on average, we can save customers on average 60% on branded household products that they use every day. The dry, boring stuff when you open uh, your kitchen cabinets, right? Jig, sunlight, soap, all these things, right? Um, and we do that using two mechanisms. Obviously, the one that everybody knows, that like all our cash and carries use, which is buying in bulk.
Mm,
To a degree, we use that model, but our main, let's say, or USP or unique selling proposition or unique advantage is using technology to look at 20 different sources where you can find this product, not necessarily buy it in bulk, but buy it at the cheapest price on top of using loyalty program points and so forth. So this is using a tech stack or technology to check for those prices like in a very like daily or even
mm,
hourly type of process. So that's the first pillar. The second pillar is then environmental, let's say, right? Which is eliminating single-use plastics, which is becoming a global trend. Also in South Africa, you see, supermarkets and shopping places charging or eliminating plastic bags.
mm,
And so what we're doing is to say, you have that jig bottle, you have that Jive 2 liter bottle, let's reuse it.
mm,
And so all we do is come with our canister of 5 liter canisters, and then refill those bottles. So in that way, eliminating single-use plastic.
mm,
And then thirdly, and this is the social aspect, is our contribution towards empowering the community. So initially, we started off with the idea to work with night shelters and similar stakeholders. So we work very closely with some community civic organizations. We had quite in-depth chats with them. And it's been over a year since we tried to launch. So there's been some on their side been quite a lot of concerns about their reputation around what essentially not trusting these people, right? And what we want to do was upskill, reskill,
mm,
and provide them with a source of a dignified lifestyle. They can
mm.
earn their income. And so those are the kind of the three main cores, and then how we deliver the sale or how we our sales medium is through the app. So we have a mobile optimized app. So if you got refills or codes on your mobile or on your desktop, it takes literally on average 40 seconds, 45 seconds to place the order.
Wow, 45 seconds. That's quick. Now, brother, that actually leads me into my second question because I know that you have history in the e commerce industry and you have a history with startups. So, this isn't your first rodeo. You know how these things go. And I wanted to know from you, as an individual that usually used to work with these big capital firms, and now you're undergoing this more social entrepreneurship project. I want to know, what is there a big was there a major shift for you? I know that you were very easy to adapt. We heard your story on how you adapted in various countries, but I just wanted to know, has this experience been a little bit different for you? Have you learned something new?
Yes, I mean it's very different doing. For example, there's a direct experience registering the company, and getting service through the online, the CIPC. Registering your company was not as straightforward. Registering the name, and also getting customer service help. I mean, that took a few technically should have taken a few weeks, but it took months. You needed to deposit like ETF deposit, and then they need to match it. So that was a bit clunky, very different from some other countries in terms of registering the company. But then other than that, in terms of rolling the business out on the consumer side, so the actual sales part of the organization has been super well received. We spent zero on marketing. It cost us in total 4,500 rand to get everything going: products bought, website built, marketing collaterals.
Where did you say 4.5K to get the entire business running, essentially?
Yeah,
Oh.
exactly. This is from, remember the series we did, right?
Yeah.
Was one of my things was, you don't need money to start a business, whether it's socially orientated or pure capitalist. What you need is something that will work, what you think will work, and then get on the street and go talk to people. And what we did in our case, before we spent a cent, let's say, they say a dime here so often, was to get 400 South Africans, 400 Cape Townians to say, will they buy this product or not? So by the time we started, we had 400 people waiting to buy the product.
Wow.
We knew what price they wanted to pay, which products they wanted, and how often they wanted to buy. And that doesn't take any money. It just takes a bit of hustle and, I guess, guts or an idea.
That's a little bit insane. I mean, 400 customers when you're just starting, basically on a subscription package, as you're kind of explaining it, how many times they wanted over a certain period of time. That's a little bit insane, because if simply put, those individuals pay 10 rand, which they aren't paying, but if they pay 10 rand, that would be 4,000 rand. That's quite a sum of money off of 4,500 that you invested, which means that in the first month you only made a loss of 500 that you're going to recoup in the next month. That's a bit insane. Wow, I'm a little bit shocked at those details.
Well, you know that the one thing, I know some business people in Cape Town have said, like, don't spread the concept too wide, like don't share people how this works, don't share financials. But as I said, this project is also part of my contribution back to what Cape Town and our community has given me, and I had an opportunity to then learn all these things internationally, with working all across Asia and Europe and now North America, and so I have no problem. And if somebody wants to do this or get in touch with us to partner or even copy us, by all means, give it your best shot. Of course, we're competitive and we want to win.
Yeah, that's a little bit insightful here, because the best part about this is that the competition, while of course benefiting the individuals, the owners, and the workers, of course, through the remuneration, but it also benefits society. So on a whole, this is, every time when we talk about capitalism and things of that nature, competition is always the crux of the issue. Of course, good competition is always welcomed. However, as we all know, competition can get a little bit tough, and then oftentimes it's always to the detriment of one party. However, in this situation, it kind of benefits every single individual. I mean, from the owner's perspective or the business perspective, they make money. The other business also, of course, makes money. But also, people on the ground are getting cheaper prices. Consumers are getting cheaper prices for goods that are going astronomically higher by the day due to the cost of living crisis. But also, we are assisting those that cannot realistically assist themselves by giving them a job and allowing them to make their own income. And as you mentioned earlier, a dignified source of income, which is so important in assisting these individuals from both a financial perspective, but also from a mental health perspective. And I must applaud you for that. That's a little bit amazing. That because a lot of the time we come on here, we talk about entrepreneurship. We never really talk about how it helps the community. And I like that you have brought that to the forefront, because I can tell from how you're talking about it, pay isn't really that big of a deal, and it's more for social engagement and betterment, right, Tauriq? Tauriq, are we there? I think
Well,
we oh, okay. Tauriq's
I'm
back.
here. I hear you.
Also, fun fact to all of the listeners, Tariq enlightened me.
Technically, it's we're focusing on both. Are we good?
Yeah, we good. We good. You can continue, Tariq. I think we had a little bit of a breaking intermission there. Maybe it's because it's an international call. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. So technically, we focused on both making profit and having an environmental, or let's say let's call it social impact, right, which captures the environmental part as well as the human part. And because the one cannot survive without the other one.
Mm,
So let's say we focus more, we talk more business lingo. If you look at this from an investable or fundable, from a let's say purely capitalist point of view, how fundable is the idea? So if you look at who we appeal to from the investment landscape side, of course, the typical venture capitalists that fund high growth, tech orientated companies. We there, right? We're using
mm,
technology not only on the sales platforms to touch the customer or reach the customer, from marketing and sales point of view, but also on how we're sourcing.
mm.
That gives us the competitive advantage. But then if you look at like government funding or social
Mr. Brown, it seems we may have lost Mr. Brown for a bit.
and
Um,
also
oh, he's back. So,
yeah
sorry,
and
Tariq, you broke up again. You broke up again.
okay. You see, and somebody just to summarize what I was saying was it's a pretty investable concept, but then the impact and the, let's say, the for profit, the financial and the non-financial aspect have to go together.
Mm.
Otherwise, it's not going to be sustainable, and people won't be able to get that on average 60% discount. But we have products like Stay Soft, we have 85%, 84% saving, for example.
Mm.
If you buy in bulk,
Wow.
you get additional 5%. So
Wait.
things
Repeat that
like
again.
that.
That percentage of how much you save. How much is that again?
Yeah,
What is
so
it?
for example, like Stay Soft, fabric softener, the
Mm.
normal one, the blue one, I think
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
spring fresh flavor.
Mm.
Exactly original, 100% authentic, not diluted, not any like what do they
Products.
call it, like fake product.
Mm.
We have it selling at 84% discount if you buy 1 unit, 500
Wow.
milliliters. If you buy more than 2 liters, you get an extra 5% on top. So,
Mm.
we managed to use technology in our sourcing, and we can be ultra competitive with anyone.
84%. Yeah, that is that is quite a decrease. To
And
say.
it's and let me tell you, we looked at all the supermarkets, cash and carries, even the bubby stores. We went
Mm.
physically to them. We checked online. We checked with all the let's call it, we call them distributors, but everywhere we can find the same product.
Mm.
And we found that we can. That's like the maximum saving that we can provide to customers. And on top
Uh,
of that, obviously, we make our own margin.
wow.
So yeah,
No,
it's
that's very very powerful. First of all, to get an 85% discount on the products is quite insane. To additionally be making a profit from that discount and also making it that appealing to consumers. I mean, 85% is almost like giving it almost a little bit away for free. That's not an investment at all, especially because these products are increasing in price every single month. It seems like there's no month where South African can get a little bit of financial reprieve. So that's absolutely wonderful. But now, Tariq, I have to ask you a question that I ask everyone, and I haven't asked you this question yet, even though you were on the show last year, because last year you weren't really promoting a business or talking about the business. You were rather talking about your own experiences. So I want to know from you, Tariq. We have about 2 3 minutes before we have to go pay the bills. I wanted to know from you, where do you see refills.coza going in, say, since it's only been open for, let's say, a year? Where do you see it going in the next 2 years?
2 years. So our immediate focus, so let's say the next 6 months, is definitely on continuing to meet the demand. So surprisingly, we've had a lot of B2B clients. So a
Mm.
lot of laundromats, small, medium businesses that have come and buying in bulk, and that's kind of
Mm.
we weren't ready for that. We were just trying to focus on these 400 individual consumers. So it
Yeah.
seems like we need to build out the B2B side of the business,
Mm.
and then scaling, right? So hiring people. We don't need to do really marketing. It seems like because it's pretty organic right now.
Mm.
And then I think 6 months after that is then expanding geographically. So right now
Ah.
we focus on the suburbs, Cape Town suburbs, but then going a bit broader, obviously expanding into maybe other parts of the Western Cape.
Tauriq, we good? Um, it seems it's a brown cut again. Tauriq, you back? You cut off there. Of the Western Cape expansion.
Yeah, so then after that would be the other metros in South Africa. And then 2 years and beyond is definitely a view to look at some international opportunities, especially at that scale. The technology we use to
Mm.
source means obviously at that scale we can buy much bigger
Tauriq,
quantities.
Tauriq, I said 2 years.
Okay,
you like you you're like
I'm
all over
tuning you.
this. You're like going international now. We're not stopping in the Western Cape. We're going national from national Africa, and then soon just the whole globe. We're just going everywhere. We're taking over the whole world. But anyway, we
Why
have to go
not?
pay. Of course. But anyway, we have to go pay the bills. When we come back, it's more of the daily grind. So stay tuned. whole new enterprise. Oh, yeah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. Sorry for that, a little bit of technical difficulties there. But as I was saying, before the break, we were talking to Mr. Tauriq Brown. He was talking to us through the logic behind Refills.coza, talking to us about how it works, the thoughts behind it, and also the benefits thereof, not only for the business owner, but also for the community at large. Remember, at the end of the day, the consumer gets an 84% discount for another competitor to compete against that. They either have to compete at price or they have to compete with some better offering, which is amazing because it benefits the consumer, benefits them. But also, at the core crux of this is that it tackles a big problem in our city, and that is, of course, none other than the homelessness, the waste, and of course, just also recycling. But anyway, we are still with Tariq. Before the break, Tariq was telling us how he's going to take over the globe with this idea, how he's going to go from here to Timbuktu and from Timbuktu to New Zealand and then from there all the way back to Canada. Tariq is Mr. International, Mr. Worldwide. But Tariq, before you were getting a little bit carried away there, I wanted to ask you more about this idea of enterprise and social entrepreneurship. Now, you have again a massive history in business. You've seen every kind of business there is to see, from tech to fashion to investments. And I wanted to know from you, why are these kind of enterprises so far and few between in our community and our country and the world over? Tariq, are we good? Tariq?
Yeah.
Yeah, just one.
I think generally in South Africa, even when I, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Are
can you hear
you? Are
me?
you? Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. It's just
Yeah,
of a technical issue. It must be because we're
can you
oceans
hear
away.
me?
That's the only issue that is happening here. I can see. Yeah, I can hear you, Tariq. You can continue.
Okay, okay. Um, so I think generally there's, you know, generally in South Africa, even when I was there a few years ago, I was looking for startups, high growth companies, high growth smaller companies,
Mm,
just to be a part of as an investor, as a advisor. And there wasn't very many. And even when I interviewed with some investment companies, there's a big gap between the what we call, let's say, the early stage and until it's revenue generating.
mm,
And so this early stage investment period, which is usually called pre-series A in investment terms, venture capital terms, is a big gap of funding, and that goes across the board. And so oftentimes you find the professional institutional funding really only focuses on companies that are post-revenue or
mm,
revenue generating, significantly so. So it starts kind of, the ecosystem starts from the encouragement of building these companies, which is often financial support, right? You expect
mm.
someone in South Africa to leave their full-time jobs and start something, it means they usually, that's the second thing, usually they need to have some savings or nest egg. Typically in our society and communities, we don't have that luxury,
Yeah.
to have a Stellenbosch uncle, that can support, and you can spend 2 3 years figuring it out, right? Without taking a salary. So it's very difficult, the challenge. And then thirdly is just the socioeconomic position, the socioeconomic landscape of South Africa. I think post 2014 up till now, it's been kind of from a growth point of view, let's say generally GDP, the economical economy growth, but then
Yes.
obviously growth companies and startups ride on that. So if the economy is not growing, international investors generally is not as interested.
Mm,
And so when you have economy that's kind of in this lull, like 0% GDP growth, or up and down a little bit, then it makes it difficult. So for these three factors,
mm,
and then number four is social enterprises generally are seen or typically done by people, let's say the more artistic orientated type of persona. So they don't typically come from a finance background, or they were previous founders. And these people have great ideas, and so I had this idea of forming an investment company to invest in these companies. There was a guy, for example, in the Eastern Cape that developed electricity generation by putting pipes across the highway. And so when the trucks would come over them, it would push the water so fast through that it creates like you can just very basically, it obviously spins a wheel and then electricity is created, right, in very basic terms. So often, of course, you have this multiple times during the day and the night, because truckers are obviously doing at the night time especially. So he's creating electricity in his community, and I thought that was fantastic. And this was already 6 years ago.
Mm. But you
Um,
know, Tauriq, I'm gonna have to break you there because I don't know if it's because we're talking across the ocean and time is a little bit different like that. But we actually ran out of time. We have to go for some more commercial news. It's a little bit bizarre.
okay.
But when we come back, we're gonna talk a little bit more. But Tauriq, I want you to think of one question. I'm gonna be asking you the same question I asked you last year, which was, what would you recommend to individuals that are out there listening right now that want to engage in entrepreneurship, start business? You've done it. You've seen thousands of people start their own business from different walks of life, from different financial backgrounds. I'm curious what you're gonna say, even though I know what you're gonna say because I remember. But just to regurgitate the memories of individuals. But anyway, we're gonna go pay the bills. When we come back, it's more the daily grind. So stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. It's again me on this side of the mic, Mr. Daanyaal Matthews. Um, Welcome back. We before the break, I asked Mr. Brown what his recommendation would be to those that are listening, those that want to engage in entrepreneurship. And Mr. Brown, let's go with that. What is your recommendation to all those who want to engage in entrepreneurship? Also, Tariq, I think you've muted yourself, by the way. Uh, Tariq. Okay,
Yeah,
cool, cool.
yeah,
So
all good.
we have to go because we're actually running out of time. I can't believe it. I think it's because you're across the ocean. That's what this is happening. But Tariq, quick, what would your recommendation be to anyone out there who is thinking of starting their own enterprise?
I mean, we all know, and you watch these YouTube videos, Facebook videos, and things. But if you want to create proper long-term or generational wealth, it's very hard to do that with a day job, right? But at the same time, you need to hedge your bets.
Mm,
2 out of 10 startups make it after 2 years. So start it as a side hustle. And
mm,
how you'll start it as a side hustle, I would say, is find the customers first. No point coming with a dream, have a dream in your mind, and you think it's great, but other people won't buy it. So
mm,
do what refills it. Went to speak to, we wanted 100 people. It turned out to be 400 people, and these 400 people said, "Yeah, we'll buy that product." And so at that point, it's then easy to justify your time investment, the time away from your family, the 12 hours work day, your day job, plus then the
mm.
side hustle. So start there.
Very interesting, Tariq. But Tariq, there's a question that just came through on the Facebook chat. Somebody asking how they can get in touch with you, or rather, how they can order. I think the 84% discount kind of enticed them. They can just give us again how they can engage with refills.co.za. Although I think the website is there, so I think that's kind of the first giveaway. But how they would engage in other ways.
Right. Yeah. So we have a few ways you can order. The simplest and the easiest way, I think, for probably for most people listening, would be we do have a WhatsApp business catalog. So you can go on there, you can view the products, and you can immediately send the request through. We have a number of ways that you can pay. So, of
Mm,
course, we do online, we do PayPal, we do cash and delivery. For B2B orders, we make some special arrangements. But yeah, the other way, or more traditional ways, like our process is as optimized as Take a Lot. So if you go to refills.coza on your, let's say, your mobile, um, just follow the instructions. There's a FAQ section, there's a how to order section, everything's there.
mm. Very interesting. Thought we're gonna have to wrap it up. We've actually reached the end of the show. I want to say to you, Shukran for coming on board. Hopefully, this isn't the last time I see you. Uh, but Shukran for coming on board. Shukran for doing this interview all the way out there in Ontario, Canada. I think it is, where there's 4 seasons in one day. Shukran so much. And to all of the wonderful listeners of Voice of the Cape, the viewers on our Facebook and YouTube, I want to say to you too, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That is it for the daily
Afwan,
grind today.
assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, Tariq. For everybody else, Assalamu alaikum. See you next week for more of the daily grind. See you there.